Good morning, everyone. Today I am doing a very exciting video. I'm finally doing a barn tour, and I thought I would start the tour early in the morning before the horses go out. So it's about 6:20 a.m. and I just gave everybody their morning hay in their stall. I always start them off with a little bit of hay to make sure that they have some forage in their tummies before they go out on the grass. And I thought it would be fun. You could see them in their stalls and you can see which stalls are theirs. And I will do the inside of the barn right now. And then when the sun comes up, I'm gonna show you a tour of more of the property and the yard and the pastures and just the flow of the whole facility here. So it's a beautiful morning. I think it's going to be in the 70s today, and it's almost October, so it's been really lovely weather, and everybody is anxious to get out. So let me show you everybody in their stalls first. So starting outside of the barn, this is the front of the barn, which leads out to the driveway. I have two little potted spruce trees that eventually will transplant, and then a green, hunter green aisle guard. I'll show you this door later, which was just recently painted. That goes into the tack room. But I have the aisle guard up. I don't want anybody running out. This area is not fenced in. It goes to the driveway and then eventually to the road. So if I have these doors open, I always have the aisle guard up. Hi, Teddy! The first stall when you come in is Ruby and Teddy's stall. And I love these stalls because you can open and close the yokes and lock them. So what I do every night is I put them up and I lock them so they can't get out and they can't mess with the hitch and they can't bump their head on anything. So first I'll show you their stall. So this is Teddy and Ruby's stall. This originally was Rowan's, but then when we got Ruby and as she got closer to foaling, I switched to the bigger stall, which is this one. And it's a perfect size for these two because they're pretty small and don't take up a lot of room. But I like to have their water in this muck bucket that's never been used for muck. And then I just tape these down, or I will take them out completely so nobody gets their little feet caught in it. And I just like it because then I don't have to worry about Teddy getting stuck in anything, and it's less of a hazard for him. And then I use ground pans for all of their feeding because it mimics more natural foraging behavior. I like to feed them low, and it's just better for them. I want to show you out in the light when the sun comes up, but Teddy, come back, is shedding out for a third time, and he's really dark. I don't know what color he is. It's hard to see in this light, but he's very dark. So it would be very helpful if someone could tell me what color they think he's going to be, because I honestly don't know. But you can kind of see it there. He's super dark. I don't know if he's graying out. I don't see any gray. It's just getting darker. So yeah, if you have any ideas, and also he just did this the other day because he got his head caught in the fence. He likes to stick his head through things, and now he's getting bigger and doesn't fit. And he almost gave me a heart attack, but luckily he's okay. And then the next stall right here is Otto's. I always leave his yoke down because he likes to have his head sticking out, and if he can't do that, he gets very anxious. So what I do instead is just tie this extra bucket strap around so he can't open it up, because he'll try to open it up, which is why it looks so nasty. Yeah, that's his stall. It's another 12 by 13, so he gets a really big stall. And then this is looking out. The sun looks like it's starting to come up. This is really sweet. My mom brought this from her property, and it came with the house. It was so cute, and I just love it. It's a cute little horse bench. And I put it here for now until we put all the rest of the blankets up. And it's just nice to sit and look outside or look at Ruby and Teddy or Otto. Up here is the long wall of blankets. And right now we just have sheets and some fly gear and coolers, but this whole entire wall will be more than full in a couple months here once it starts cooling down. And then I have a ladder for me because I can't reach them, but it's nice, they can dry, they'll be out of the way. And then once it's full, I'm gonna move the bench. And I have 2 spots to tack up in the barn. One is here. I have cross ties. I'd like to get mats, but right now this will do. And they actually have a pretty good texture on the surface of the concrete, so it's not slippery. And then this is where we keep all of the feed and the hay that we're gonna immediately use. We have hay storage out in the back. That's pretty close, but then I bring in what we need for the day on this big pallet. And this is a really nice pallet. It actually came with the barn, the original barn, and there's no gaps, which is really nice because I'm always anxious about using pallets around horses. And then this is the door to go into the tack room. So this whole area is the tack and feed room, which I'll show you in a minute. And right now is very exciting because we have a really sweet barn cat that just started coming around, and he's in there receiving some medical care and recovering. So I'll introduce you to him as well. He's a really sweet guy. The next stall I'm going to show you is Rowan, and the rest of the stalls are, I think they're 10 by 12 or 11 by 12. I can't remember. But she got booted to the smaller stall, but it's still very spacious for her. I'll go in and show you. Good girl. So this is a more typical setup for the stall. I'll have their bucket hanging, a salt lick, and then their hay bag hanging. And then I'll have a ground pan, and I'll always sweep the shavings back. So if they spill their hay or I feed them extra hay in the morning, it'll just go on the mat and not mix with the shavings so much. And we really like to bed our stalls really deep. So this is what we usually have it at, and just large flakes because they all lay down at night besides Otto. And I just think it's so much more comfortable for them. So before I finish up the inside of the barn, I wanted to also say that this entire barn was completely redone when we moved here 3 years ago, or almost 4 now. And everything that you see in the whole entire tour today is something that we've done. Because the barn before was like very bare boned. It was mostly set up for chickens, and we had to take everything down and just strip it back to basically the frame of the barn. So we worked with the space, and then we added an overhang, the driveways, and all of the pastures. So everything that you see here, I'm lucky enough to say that we designed and set up. So with saying that, I try to make everything in the barn and outside of the barn as functional and as comfortable as possible for the horses. So I take a lot of pride in that, and I'm really, really excited to share that with you guys because I've been putting it off. We've had a lot of projects this year in particular that I was waiting till they finished, and then another project would come up and I would be like, oh, I'll film after this project, and then another one would come up. And so I'm just gonna do it now, and it'll always be nice to look back on when I have made more progress, because I think the thing is there's never gonna be a time where there's not projects or changes happening in the barn or the yard or with the horses. So this is where we're at right now, and I have a lot of goals with the property and with riding in general that I'm gonna share a bit later, and I'm really excited about them. So yeah, I'll get back to the tour though. Before we get to the next stalls, a very exciting announcement is the 6th stall in the barn is completed, and our wonderful friend who made the gates for the arena, if you remember seeing those, created this stall. And it turned out just beautifully. I think it's about 13.5 or 14 feet wide and then 9 feet deep. So it's a pretty big stall. And with this one, I went ahead and got more bars. I think those are called bars, whatever those are called. I put more on this side, so there's 2 sets here, and then they can look out this way at the barn and all the other horses. Rowan, she's itching her butt. So it's really nice and airy when you go in there, and the only thing that I don't love about the stall is because it was built on a pre-existing area. We just went ahead and left the concrete, and all the other stalls I have a base of sand and then a top layer of crushed limestone that was compacted down, so it's got a bit more give. But I mean, we bed our stalls deep anyways, and with this one I'll just bed it a bit extra, and we have the mats. So, but this is a really interesting corner here because what we had to accommodate for, there's an outlet and a light switch. And this stall is going to be Teddy or Ruby's stall when he's weaned, which is coming up very soon, honestly. So this needed to get done, and I am over the moon about it. It's the same stall kit as all the other ones, in the same setup, just a bit different size. So the next stalls we have are Tia's and Finn's, and I don't know if you've met them. Looks like Finn slept really good last night. If you haven't met them yet, they are my sister's horses that stay here. And he's very grumpy. Oh, and he always likes to push his salt on the other side. But these are their stalls. I have another extra one of these blanket bars that I'm gonna put on the outside of this stall. But I think I might put the bench down in this area once all of the blankets are out. Boy! So on this side of the barn, you can kind of see the sun starting to come out because I'm taking so long to explain this. And there's a driveway out to the hay barn, and then there's pastures. And I'll show you more of that in a minute. Let me just flip this light on. So when I back up here, you can see the barn from the outside. And we planted some evergreens out here as well, but different ones to kind of diversify it. I just love coming out here and hearing all of the bugs and the birds in the morning. Over right here that I didn't talk about yet is just the brush stall in the tack up area, which have cross ties. And I have mats here typically, but I had to sacrifice them for the stall. So for right this second, there's no mat, and that's why there's little spots on it. But I'm gonna get some more soon because I don't really like tacking them up and tying them up on the concrete. But again, it's not that slippery. Out here was put in to have more storage space, and I'll show you more of that in a minute. We opened this side up. This door wasn't here at all, and it's actually perfect because in the winter I'll have this door closed and that door closed because that's facing the east. This is facing the west, so the wind comes in from the west. Right here is great to open because wind hardly comes from that direction. And we can just leave it open and we can take the horses out without a bunch of snow blowing in like these other 2 doors. So it's actually really, really handy. So walking out this door, there's a driveway to the pastures, which I'll show you more later. But then over here is a wash rack, some storage, and then that's where all of our feral cat visitors come and eat. Here is a full load of stall muck that needs to be taken to the back. And then I park the ATV, which pulls that. I store the shavings here, and then there's just an extra chair that I put out. It's nice to sit in and look out. So this is what the barn looks like from this perspective. And then around this way, you'll see the hay barn, the arena, and again, I'll show you more later, and then some pastures. So going into the tack room, Simbi is very talkative, so just get ready for that. Hi! I know. That's a good boy. So he has like an upper respiratory infection going on that he's getting treated for, and then he's gonna get neutered once that's clear. Good boy. I just love him. He's such a sweet guy. I'm still in my jams. So right now it's set up to accommodate Simbi. Yeah. So it's not usually set up like this. I have the stool there so he can look out the window. And then 3 lockers, a really nice mirror that came with the house, and then I framed some pictures of Ruby and Rowan. In that basket, I like to try to keep some fresh fruits like apples or some carrots in there, but right now it's empty. Hooks for bridles and training equipment. This is a really nice little heater for the winter because this is really well insulated. We can heat it in here and it'll hold. Here are the saddle racks. We keep the saddle pads here. Calendar. And then I built this little extra desk area that kind of just continues the counter space, and that's where the stool usually is. So I can sit here and get some work done, or do phone calls or something, or wait for the vet and be comfortable. Here are supplements. They're buckets for feeding. And Simbi's food and water, he likes to eat up there. Sink, storage, more storage, and then we keep all of our feed underneath the counter. And it's really nice because we have wheels on them, so they'll slide out and go back in. So this I try to keep tidy, but as you can see, it doesn't always work out that way, but I wanted to show you anyways. Good boy, see you later. Oh, so I'm gonna go let everyone outside, and then I'm gonna go in and eat some breakfast, and then I'll be back out and I'm gonna show you the outside of the barn. So pastures, the arena, the hay barn, everything. And then I have a couple future projects that I am dreaming of that I'm gonna share with you guys, and also some more near future in the next couple weeks, or some goals that are going to be met and milestones that are going to be met. So I'm going to show you that all in just a minute. So walking out of the side door, we'll get a view of the front pasture, the middle pastures, and then the back pastures are back there. Here is Rowan's pasture, and I change them up a little bit depending on how the grass is and what each horse's needs are. But Otto really prefers this pasture for some reason. They're all eating their breakfast right now. This white fencing was here before it's vinyl, so when we first got here I had them put some hot wire just on the vinyl. I didn't want anyone breaking out of the pastures because they're pretty fragile in the winter and getting to the road, which is over here. So everything else you see we've added and then changed a ton. So a lot of this fencing that you see here we've actually put up ourselves, which we've never done before, and I'm really happy with how they're turning out. This area of the grass I can't get any to grow, and I'm not giving up. I'm still trying. I'm just gonna have to retry in the spring. So it's really nice having these pathways. I want to add more and I'll show you where exactly. In each of these pastures you'll notice that there are gates. I want to add another one here, but we try to add gates dividing the pastures so that we can eventually open them up and create bigger fields when horses are introduced or we have bigger herds. We also added ourselves some more hot wire just on this pasture for when Teddy was really small. He tried to jump through, and then we connected it down there to the existing hot wire so that he can't jump through. But I'll be taking that down soon. He's too big to fit through the fence now, thankfully. So what you can see here is Teddy is shedding out for a third time. Good boy. And he's really dark, and I'm absolutely shocked. I don't know if you can see, his tail has some light streaks in it. His sire did have some silver streaks on the underside of the tail, like he wasn't quite a silver bay. I don't know if he's graying. You can see also around his hocks, he's super dark. The top of his coat, he's so dirty. The top of his coat is like a really rich red bay, which is what his sire looks like. But then you can see he's shedding out to be really dark in the face too. So if you have any ideas of what color, good boy, he might be shedding out to, and I showed you that earlier. If you have any ideas of what he might be shedding out to, please let me know, because I have no idea. I thought I knew, but he keeps changing, and it looks like he's going to be either really dark or possibly graying out. I don't see any gray on his body. He's just getting really dark, like almost a sealy bay. So this is the front pasture. I maintain all of the pastures myself, and what we like to do instead of picking out the poo is just, we like to harrow it, disperse all of the manure as a fertilizer, and that seems to be helping with the grass. And something to note is our soil is really heavy in clay. So in the winter and in the fall and the spring, it's a little bit muddy, but that means all summer and then the front half of autumn and even through the winter we have quite a bit of grass. So I think a lot of people really prefer sand-based soil so it's not so muddy, but I actually prefer the clay-based because we have better quality grass year-round, and they're at less of a risk of developing any sort of sand colic because they're not going to be consuming sand. Here's Rowan's breakfast spot. She makes a huge mess, so I have to clean that out every couple weeks so it doesn't ferment. And then walking over, you can see the driveway connects to the back door of the barn. The whole property is actually fenced in with the original fencing here, which is really nice. And so if any of the horses get loose, they're contained, and it's nice that we didn't have to do that. So right now, I'm also trying to get some grass to grow in this strip because we had to do some trenching to run a water line back to the arena. And then here's Tia and Finn's pasture. And again, I don't know if you can see, but there is a gate in this pasture that will open up to the neighboring pasture. And then there's one right behind Finn here that'll open up to the next field. So if we want to make one big field, we have that option. Well, he's eating their hay because I have Tia in the round pen right now eating. She's finished her breakfast grain, but he'll steal her grain, so she has to be separate. And then this field is the field that we're working on, the fence line here. And now I did buy an auger recently, and we're gonna be able to put up this fence pretty quickly. And what I would like to do also is split this field into two with another fence line going right down the middle. And then I'll have a gate over here, and then I'll have another gate around here, and then again another gate in the middle of the new fence line, so we can section it off and do better pasture rotation. But for now, I do have this round pen up. It's really helpful for feeding Tia, making sure she can get a little bit extra grass, and then when I bring Ruby out to ride, I can put Teddy in here and he's comfortable with the grass and he can be separate from us. So then over here is the gates to get into the arena, and you can see they're two different tones. That's because this one is stained and this one is yet to be stained, but they're both going to be matching soon. So it's a slow process getting all of this fencing stained. Sid and I are doing it ourselves. Still very happy with these gates. They swing in and out. I need to drag the arena. I just rode in it last night. There's a little grid set up. And I have a whole video about the process of building the arena. If you want to know more about that, I'll link that down below. And then if we keep walking back this way, there's a couple things I still want to show you back here. So back here, there are two things. There is the old hay storage that we moved back here that did not work. It's like a shed tent that lets in a bunch of moisture. Don't use that. This is where we store other equipment that needs to be out of the rain but not completely dry. This is the muck pile. We use it and compost it on all the fields in the spring and in the fall, as long as it's not too dry. And then this is extra fabric that I need to move. That was for the arena. The back side of the arena has a slope down to this grass area, and this is all hayfield right now. But what we want to do with this area is we want to turn this whole space into Michigan native prairie and kind of rewild, because we have a lot of wildlife out here that I think would really benefit from it. And then on the other side, it's a little bit difficult to see because of the sun. There is a path that I keep mowed that we can also ride along. So it's nice. I would like to rewild all this area and then cut some walking paths, either for the horses or for us to walk on, and kind of give back to the animals that lived here before us and will live here after us. The front of the arena is really special because it's got this nice slope that actually is like a hill you can sit on. But what I really want to do eventually around the arena is plant some hedges between. These are drain tiles, it's a ditch. So where the gravel is, I'd love to have some hedges that go all the way around up to the gate. And then in front of the gate, I'd love to have some potted flowering plants or maybe some more evergreens. So once this path is more established, I'd like to put something in this shaded area, like a bench, kind of cut a little path here and put a bench so we can kind of sit in the shade along this little fence line and look out onto the arena. I think that would be really romantic. So I wanted to share another vision that I have that's more of a long-term goal. It won't happen anytime soon, but maybe next year or the following year if I can save up enough to do this. This is just some extra equipment, truck and trailer, tractor, drag. What I'd love to do is this area the hay barn, which is really close to the existing barn, I would love to put some more stabling and equipment storage right in this area, backing up to that fence line and then running a driveway, just gravel like we have, right in front of it so that we can park the trailer here, not worry about mud, and then lead the horses in and out of the stable. I'd also love to connect this driveway all the way down this fence line in front of the drain field, in front of these gates, and then down to the arena. And those are some of my goals for this area, because I would love for it to feel connected and like it flows really well. And this area is like a courtyard with really nice, I have clover and different grasses planted here, and then I want to make it a little bit prettier with some landscaping as well. And I'll hopefully insert some pictures to kind of share what my vision is and my goals are with this area and how it could all connect and make sense. I also, around the arena, really want to plant some trees that'll get really big, like shade trees, so that it'll cast some shade in front and then beyond into the arena, and on the outside of the arena it'll help with the arena keep the arena from drying out, keep riders comfortable, and then people who are viewing also comfortable. So that's basically my long-term vision. There's another fun thing that we're working on that I'll share with you in a second. Into the backyard, some other goals that we have. We keep a cut lawn for our dog, but then over here we try to let it come up, and we've been slowly planting some more native plants and feed the birds, and we're trying to turn as much of the property into native prairie as we can. And right here where it's mowed, we're actually going to be getting a chicken coop and placing it right here by our house, and then making the run go into some of the prairie, and then they'll have all this space and they're going to be free range when we're home. This is the backyard. So if you want some updates about that or are interested in that, please let me know, because I don't know how much of the whole property you want to see in the videos, or if it's just horse related content you want to see, please let me know. But we will be getting a chicken coop and getting chickens within the next month, and it's going to go in this area. But there's other projects we're working on too that are on the property that kind of go all towards the end goal and the end vision. But thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.